Hey everybody, it's Dave here from Dragonhill Games, and you're watching This Week in MTG Finance. As always, and before we get started, I want to thank MTG Stocks for allowing us to use graphical information for the purposes of this video. It's been a little bit of a slower week this week, with cards from Commander Legends and collector interest driving the market. So let's dive right into our top 10 list, and we're going to start right here with Moat from Legends. Here we have one of the heavy hitters from Magic's history. This card has been valuable basically since the day it was printed. Of course, it's on the reserve list being printed from Legends, and it's up another 30% this week to $1,100. For just 4 mana, we're getting an enchantment that says non-flying creatures can't attack, a classic card in Stacks strategies. Coming in at number 9, and also up 30% this week, we have Terrain Generator, the Nemesis original printing. Now, I mentioned this last week as a card that I've always been interested in. It's a perfect card for Commander. It doesn't come into play tapped, adds colorless mana to your mana pool, and for just 2 mana, we can put a basic land card from our hand into play tapped. There's been a lot of new landfall strategies with Zendikar Rising and a bunch of new Lands Matter commanders from Commander Legends. So a card like Terrain Generator is going to continue to see play, end up in more and more decks, and continue to rise in price. Now, you know it's been a slow week in MTG Finance when something like Island Fish Draconius ends up in the number 8 spot. So this is the original Arabian Nights printing, valued at $36.75, and this is up 37% this week. Purely collector-driven demand here. This card's had a bunch of printings, it's not on the reserve list, and it's a really, really terrible card, especially by today's standards. 7 mana, 6/8, that you have to pay 3 blue during your upkeep to untap it. It also can't attack unless your opponents control islands, and if you don't have an island in play, you have to bury the poor fish. This art is awesome on this card. It reminds me of one of those trash barges just kind of floating down the river. Nonetheless, our number 8 winner this week is Island Fish Draconius from Arabian Nights. Our number 7 winner this week is also up another 37%, and that would be Tawnos Coffin from Antiquities. Reserve list card and valued at $150. It's actually a pretty interesting card for spot board control. For 4 mana, we're getting an artifact. Now we can pay 3 and tap the Coffin at any time to exile a creature. When we do, we have to take note of all auras and counters that are exiled with Tawnos Coffin, because if Tawnos Coffin becomes untapped or is taken out of play, then that creature will return to combat with all auras and counters and things of that nature attached to it. Of course, if you exile a token, everything that was attached to that token is also permanently exiled. Pretty interesting card for spot board control in Commander. Now that we made it to our number 6 winner this week, we're going to start seeing cards that are moving because of Commander Legends. And the first one here is Mana Flare, up 48% this week to $13.50. Now this is the 5th edition printing. There's been a bunch of printings of this card, and actually the best value is probably revised edition at $10. The 4th edition is a little bit cheaper, but I like revised for long-term collectability. Mana Flare is a mana doubler, so essentially whenever a player is going to tap a land for mana, they're going to get twice the amount of mana instead. And of course, this is working really well with one of the new commanders from Commander Legends. That would be Yurlok of Scorched Thrash. Our number 5 winner this week is also up 48% to $6, and that would be Cedrus, the Trader King. Printed in Shards of Alara, and you know this card has never had a reprint, which is a little bit surprising. It's a really cool card and would be awesome as a commander in its own right, but currently it's getting a lot of interest because of Obeka, Brute Chronologist, and that's the commander that you can tap to end the turn. I actually did a top 10 on Obeka, so if that's something that interests you, I'll put that up in the top right. You can check that out. And Cedrus made our top 10 list. So Cedrus has got a lot of things going for him. First of all, he's a zombie and a warrior, which are both relevant creature types. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this get reprinted in a future commander set, and probably soon. Each creature card in your graveyard has Unearth for 1 black and 2. Now, of course, Unearth is you can return a creature from your graveyard to play. It gains haste, and then you remove it from the game at the end of turn, or if it would otherwise leave play. Cedrus definitely is going to end up in a lot of decks going forward. Overabundance has been on our list a few times over the course of the last couple of weeks, and this rare from Invasion is valued at almost $10 now. It's up another 64% this week. Just a month ago, this was a junk rare, and now it's a $10 card. It's the only printing of this card, and that definitely lends to its availability. It's another mana doubler, so for a green, a red, and 1, we're getting an enchantment, and now whenever a player taps a land for mana, they add an additional mana of that same type to their mana pool. But it also has a life tax on it. Overabundance deals 1 damage to a player whenever they tap a land for mana. So this is another auto include in the Yurlok the Scorch Thrash decks. Our number 3 winner this week is another collector-driven card, and that would be Sorceress Queen from Arabian Nights, valued at $95, and this thing's up another 69% this week. This card's also had a bunch of printings in early core sets, and you can get most of those versions for $1 or less. Sorceress Queen is actually a really kind of cool spot sort of board control card for Commander. For 3 mana, we get a 1/1 that we can tap to turn another creature into a 0/2. Now that creature doesn't lose all its abilities, it basically just becomes base power 0/2. Definitely sees play in Commander in the right decks as spot board control. Coming in at number 2 and up another 101% this week, we have Ella Domri's Vineyard from Tempest, valued at $9. This is the only printing of this card, but it's not on the reserve list, so I wouldn't be shocked to see something like this get reprinted down the road. It's actually a really fun card. For 1 mana, we're getting an enchantment, and at the beginning of each player's main phase, they add 2 green to their mana pool. Of course, this is on the move because of one of the new commanders from Commander Legends, and that's Yurlok the Scorch Thrash. Again, this card is a perfect fit for that deck because it adds green mana to their mana pool, which may be very difficult for them to spend. And if they don't spend it, of course, they're going to suffer from mana burn. Ella Domri's Vineyard up another 101% this week. And our big winner this week, up 273% to $150, is Dakon Blackblade from Legends. I really don't understand why this guy is on the move. Let's break this down for a little bit. I mean, I suppose it's just really collector demand. I'm sure this gets some play in old school Magic, although the colors are really funny because his power and toughness is equal to the number of lands you control. So naturally, this would be a great fit for green decks, but he doesn't have green in his colors. He's actually Esper colors, which is not very conducive to getting a bunch of lands on the battlefield. It's not a reserve list card, and you can pick up a Chronicles copy for around $1. So if I'm missing something, why don't you guys let me know in the comments section below. Alright, before I get into cards I'm investing in this week, as always, if you're a subscriber, you know I want to thank you for being here. I really appreciate your continued support. And if not, now's a great time to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I post at least 2 videos every week. This week I want to focus on cards you can snipe from Commander Legends that are a particularly good value right now, and let's start right here with Nezahal the Primal Tide. This had a printing in Rivals of Ixalan, and that version is worth 2.5 times the amount at $5, and that one's even come down quite a bit since the announcement that this was going to get a reprint in Commander Legends. For 7 mana, we have a 7/7 beater that can't be countered, has Reliquary Tower stapled onto it, and whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, you draw a card. Of course, you can also discard 3 cards to exile Nezahal and then return him to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. At just $2, this is a great value pickup from Commander Legends. At just $5.50, there is a massive disparity in price between the printings of Staff of Domination in Commander Legends and the original printing in 5th Dawn, valued at almost $45. Even the Commander Legends extended art version at $10 is a great pickup. This is a huge card for Commander. It's a premium mana sink that you can just dump any amount of mana into, and of course it has awesome abilities allowing you to gain life, untap or tap creatures, and draw cards. There's always going to be demand for this card, and the price on Staff of Domination from Commander Legends has nowhere to go from here but up. I cannot stress this enough that now is the best time to be picking up these new Commander lands from Commander Legends. So let's look at something like Spectator Seating, for example. At just $6.75, now is a fantastic time to be picking up this card. These Commander lands enter the battlefield untapped as long as you have 2 or more opponents, which makes them an auto-include in any decks that run their colors. Let's have a look at Morphic Pool, for example. So this was one of the ones printed in Battle Bond, and it had a price tag once upon a time around the same price as Spectator Seating in just the $5-6 range, currently valued at almost $20. Now, of course, black-blue is a more popular color combination, But there's no reason why something like spectator seating shouldn't be in the $10 to $15 range at some point in the near future. And last but not least, we have our speculation play for the week. That's right, it's War Room from Commander Legends. Currently valued at just $2, this is a fantastic pickup. We get a land that taps for colorless mana, and we can pay 3 and tap it and pay life equal to the number of colors in our commander's color identity to draw a card. A great way to dump mana going into your turn, continuous card advantage, and a perfect fit for mono-colored commander decks, and an auto include in any colorless commander deck. Alright, I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode of This Week in MTG Finance. If you did, go ahead and smash that like button, it really helps me out, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.